Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Assalamu alaikum, dear viewers, and welcome back to Women's View on Ahlulbayt TV. You're watching day 2 of our Women's View live shows. As you all know, that we are broadcasting live for the 10 days of Muharram, inshallah. So today's topic is, for those who are watching before the break, it's about the importance of mourning and remembering the tragedy of Karbala through different mediums. Just a quick recap of what we discussed before the break. We discussed the importance of mourning for the tragedy of Karbala, how this mourning as a diary and lamentations began for Imam Al-Hussein alayhi salam. We mentioned numerous hadiths about mourning for the tragedy of Imam Hussein, as Imam Rida alayhi salam has said that the eye which weeps for the tragedy of Imam Hussein will be the eye which will be joyful in the day of judgment. So there's numerous hadiths as well that we watched, that we mentioned, and you could find in regards to mourning the tragedy of Karbala. Just to inform you all, for those who are trying to call in, that the phone lines unfortunately are not working today. So you can email in alternatively with any questions or comments or which you would like to participate in today's show. Inshallah, I will be checking the emails and the Facebook messages and try to read out as much as I can during today's show. So let's begin our show today. I'm your host Zahra Al-Alawi, and today with me is the Hashim Sisters. Assalamu alaikum. Welcome back. Before the break, we were discussing the importance of mourning and those who claim that that you can't mourn for Imam Hussein or you can't mourn for anyone that has passed away. But we're getting some emails coming through now, so just let me read some of the emails out, inshallah, so we can begin to speak about them. This is from Sister Zahra Al-Alawi. She says, Salam to Sister Zahra and Hashim Sisters. Wa alaikum salam, sister. May Allah reward you all for spreading the message of the Ahlulbayt alayhim salam. I would like to say to you sisters, keep up the good work. You become a source of inspiration for all of us. I would like to say my special thanks and salam to Sister Mahum. I wrote my first English poem for Imam of our time, Ajallah Ta'ala Faraja, after watching their interview. For those who know, that we did conduct an interview with them a couple of months ago. Please do keep on writing eulogy in English. It reaches a huge audience. I would like to ask how important role movies can play in this regard. Zahra from Pakistan. So what would you say regarding that?
First of all, I'd like to say thank you very much on behalf of all of us, and also may Allah increase your ability to continue writing for the Imam of our time and for the Ahlulbayt alayhi salam. And you mentioned please continue writing English eulogies, so alhamdulillah, we will definitely continue to write and recite English eulogies. And in our current album, our latest one, I have actually written another one, and we've released it, and it's called Ladies of Karbala. And it basically talks about the strength of the ladies of Karbala, the strength that they showed, and how we can show that strength as well. So inshallah, do also take the opportunity to listen and read that.
She asked a question at the end in regards to the role of movies. What can that play in regards to remembering tragedy?
The role of movies. Now that's very interesting, because of course that's also a different medium of spreading the message of and the tragedy of Karbala. The role of movies, I mean, there have been a couple of movies that have been produced and released. For example, the Caravan of Pride, which also showed the events of Karbala and even after. And this also, the role of the movie is basically, the media is also very important, and it does help a lot in spreading the message and in spreading the tragedy and the events, particularly for children and those who don't know much.
Yeah.
You know, they become attracted and interested in this kind of particular form of or medium of spreading the tragedy. So when they watch it with interest. They think of it as just a movie, but then as they watch it, as they go into it, they do actually become totally dwelled in and totally, you know, they just become very interested in it, especially children. I've witnessed a few children myself who really enjoy watching when they watch. One of the ladies we know, she was telling us that she was watching the Caravan of Pride with her child, and she was 7 years old at the time, and she was watching the film, and she started crying when she saw you know, the part of Sayyidah Ruqayya Bibi Sakina, because she related to that so well, and because she was seeing it in you know, on TV. She was actually viewing what was happening. In however way it was portrayed, that's not the question, but the fact that she took the interest, she understood, and she wept and she cried. So alhamdulillah, this is also a very, very good medium of spreading of mourning and of spreading the message.
Yeah, I also think that, for example, young children, when they go to majalis and when they listen to the Masayib or when they're listening to Nohas, if they are unable to cry, then maybe the movies come in here. Like she said that when she watched the movie, she started crying. So like, it's just another way of making you cry. After she saw it, she started crying. Maybe when you hear something, some people are unable to cry, like they're just unable to. So maybe by seeing things actually happening in front of you, even though it is nothing compared to what actually happened, but they're just showing you, for example, a glimpse or an idea of what actually happened in Karbala, and when you see it, and then you start crying. So that's also an important role of movies, that people can actually see it and cry if they are unable to do so in any other way.
See it, understand the events that took place, and eventually cry as a response to that, because obviously any human heart, when hearing or seeing such tragic events, will not be able to hold it within them. And you know, if they're not able to cry with their tears, I'm sure they'll feel it inside, and they won't be laughing at the time, they won't be smiling, but their face will be such that you can see the pain, and you can see that they're really feeling the pain, and you know, that is trying to be portrayed to you.
Definitely.
So crying, feeling the pain and everything, this is a way of, as Saania said, this is a way of bringing that out as well.
MashaAllah, alhamdulillah, in today's time, we have these kind of facilities. We have the TV, we have the internet, we can produce these kind of movies. It's very important for us to take these opportunities, to use them properly, and to give the audience, to portray Imam Hussein's message in any way possible, to allow the audience, to allow the people of the world to understand it and to learn from it and to cry about it.
Definitely, yeah.
I'm sorry to interrupt. You might as well take advantage of these different mediums, because as nowadays children are so addicted to like the TV and everything. So might as well use it in a good way. Instead of attracting them to cartoons or other programs, watch this instead. Use the media in a good way and to advantages to everybody.
Definitely, yeah. I mean, this topic is about remembering Imam Hussein through the different mediums, and I think movies are a perfect way to express and portray what happened in Karbala. Many people are visual beings. When they see something, it's more likely that they will manifest within them and, you know, move their emotions rather than just theory or speaking. But now for the sister emailed, and she said she wrote her first poem now. I mean, now is the time of Muharram. I think many people do get inspired during Muharram because there's so much going on, there's so much inspiration, there's so many stories and lessons within the story of Karbala that they begin to get inspired. For those who want to begin, I mean, you've been reciting for many years, for those who want to begin doing something this Muharram to propagate the message of the Ahlulbayt, to spread Islam, to spread the tragedy of Karbala and the lessons and message encapsulated within the tragedy of Karbala, what would you say to them to begin, where to start, how to continue?
For this sister, or for people who are, you know, inclined towards the poetry side, definitely, if you want to, and if this is within you, then don't hesitate at all. You should definitely start. We mentioned this in our interview before, this is our duty. This is our duty as women, as girls, as men, or whoever, like men should do this, all of us. It's not restricted to just some, you know, a certain type of people. No, it's for everyone. So if you can, and if you find your skill in whatever way you can present it the best way, if you want to do lecturing, you can do lecturing. If you want to do reciting, Noha reciting, do Noha reciting. If you want to just write poetry, write poetry. At the end of the day, the reward, you know what the reward is. The reward is a great reward that you can't even think, you know. You'll just be like, wow, this is the reward I'm getting, wow. So, because we're Noha reciters, so I would particularly say that for those youngsters, or for that watch us and become inspired to recite, just, you know, like, just remember one thing: you're not doing it for the public. You're not doing it for the public. You're doing it for Imam Hussein, Allah, and the Holy Ahlulbayt. That's it. Make that your niyyah, pure intention, pure niyyah, and just say Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim and start. Start. Once you start, you'll see, when your niyyah is clear, you'll see that any hurdle that comes in your way, any obstacle that comes in your way will just go away. It will just disappear. It will evaporate. And day by day you will improve, you'll be nervous a little bit at the start. But once you see, when you've made your niyyah clearly for the right reason, for spreading the message of Islam, for spreading the tragedy and for spreading Imam Hussein's message that he saved of Islam, you'll see that day by day your confidence will build as well. And then you'll see that, inshallah, you will continue day by day, you'll want to do it even more. You'll find this, you'll understand that, yes, this is my responsibility. This is my duty to do this. You should be active. Everyone should be active. I mean, listening to eulogies, listening to nahas is it's amazing, and you know, that's also great reward, great reward. And so is reciting. But when you do it yourself, when you recite or when you give lectures or when you present a show or when you write a book, your own contribution in any way, you'll feel at least some satisfaction. Not enough. You'll never feel enough. You'll never feel like, okay, I've done my best. No, because you're never going to do your best. You'll try to do your best, but there's always space for more and more, especially when it comes to this mourning and azadari. You know, there's not enough. Like we mentioned before, you can't do it enough. Definitely. So definitely take the step to become, you know, if you want to recite, take the step and recite. If you want to give lectures, take the step and give lectures. In whatever way you feel you can do the best justice of spreading the message of the Ahlulbayt and of the tragedy of Karbala, you should do it.
Definitely, yeah. I mean, there are many sisters now, alhamdulillah, there's lecturers, there's sisters that give lectures, sisters that do recitation, there's sisters who present shows. And I think everyone should find the medium which they can best do, because everyone's a profession in something or is good at something. And I think if we all come together and do what we can, there's great writers out there, there's great reciters out there, there's great people who are very vocal and can put across really good lectures. I think if everyone took their part, then we can really spread the message and inspire many people out there.
Of course, definitely.
Regarding your own recitation, I mean, because I've seen the videos of that you've recited in the shrine of Sayyid Zainab alayhi salam. When you're in that moment and you're reciting for the tragedy of Karbala, I mean, how do you feel in that moment? Because this is Imam Hussein, this is the grandson of the Prophet. Knowing what happened to him, he was slaughtered, he was killed, he was betrayed. I mean, how do you feel at the moment when you're reciting the tragedy of Karbala?
Whenever we recite the tragedy of Karbala, or these nahas that we have, we become totally engrossed in it. We don't think about anything else. So you can just imagine when you're totally engrossed in something and when you're totally engrossed in this particular thing, the feeling that, you know, like, there's just, you can't even describe the feeling. You know, it's indescribable. Like even, you're saying Sayyida Zainab and in these shrines, when you recite over there, it's totally different. It's just like you're in front of these holy people's shrine, these holy infallible shrine, and you're reciting, you're doing your duty or what you've been chosen to do in front of them. That feeling, I cannot describe that feeling. It's just, I don't know, like, what would you say? I can't describe it.
It can't be described.
You know, sometimes when you're there, for example, you're at Bibi Zainab Salamullahi alayha's shrine, you're reciting, you kind of, it's such a different feeling. You kind of, sometimes you forget where you are. And if you're reciting about Karbala, you just feel that you are there, you are present at the time, you're actually seeing things and you're just reciting it. You're in the place, you're reciting what you're reciting, you just feel you're there, you're present at the time, you can see everything happening, you can feel it happening, and then when you finish, you come back and you're like, oh, I'm here. It's such a different feeling, and sometimes you get so into it, you don't even realize. And you're just you know, giving your condolences, you're reciting, you're feeling exactly, it's just indescribable.
And when the audience that you're reciting, like, you're not reciting to them, but they're listening to you, obviously, and when they feel, or when they see this effect that it's having on you, automatically, apart from the fact that they're listening to it as well, automatically they start feeling it as well. So normally when we recite and you see the public around you, everyone's, you know, in their own, like, they're crying, they're totally lost in that moment, you know? like giving their condolences, and you can tell that these people are doing it purely and purely for the acceptance of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, which is what we're doing everything in our life for. And you know, it's just basically, you can't describe the feeling at the times when you're reciting. And you just recite, like don't think that, oh, my voice is shaken over here, oh God, what's going to happen? Just continue. Because at the end of the day, the reward you're going to get it on the Day of Judgment. Say the Fatima, will, you know, the reward you're going to get is just, that's it. That's the ultimate reward.
Definitely. There's one thing I wanted to add on, because many people, you know, they try to get into propagating the message of Ahlulbayt, reciting or lecturing, they're finding that they're not getting anywhere or they're not getting far. And I think the importance is about the intention. If someone tries to propagate the message of Ahlulbayt, tries to lecture, present, recite to elevate their own status, to have fame or propagate themselves, then I think, you know, you may get somewhere at the start, but it will not last. I think it's about the intentions, about doing it truly for the love of the Ahlulbayt. SubhanAllah, I was really happy when I heard that you sell your CDs without any profit. And honestly, the Hashim Sisters, they recite, they release CDs, and they do not get any profit out of it. They distribute it to mosques and centres. And you know, I think that's what people need to focus on. If you want to take that path to lecture, if you want to take that path to present shows, recite, then do it without trying to elevate your own status and try to get fame, but rather do it for the love of the Ahlulbayt, the mawaddah, which the Prophet asks us for, and the Prophet asks us for the mawaddah of the Ahlulbayt, and that's why we should do it.
Yeah, exactly. Like, it goes back to the pure intention, like you were saying, and like we said before. It's all about the pure intention. Yeah. And basically, you have the pure intention, you'll find that this complaint that you have of you're not getting anywhere, first of all, what is getting somewhere? Yeah. You know, you'll know where you are on the Day of Judgment, inshallah. Yeah, inshallah. So don't have any of this that, oh, yeah, exactly. Fame, what's fame? Fame is nothing.
It's nothing, yeah.
It's all about the pure intention. Have the pure intention, you'll see that not only in this field, like for example, when you're reciting nohas, not only will you elevate in this field and will you day by day increase in this field in whatever way you do, but in your day-to-day life, you'll find this inner peace, just generally.
Yes, it's that inner peace.
Everything you do, you'll find that it's happening and you don't know how it's happening. And after it's happened without any trouble, you're just like, wow, that happened, you know? Yeah. How did that happen? You know, when you have like exams and stuff like that, and you've got so many other things on your brain, like reciting, going to this place to recite, going to that place to recite, recording the album, and you have an exam the next day, happens perfectly.
Yeah, and it's all the tawfiq from Allah.
Exactly.
Allah gives you that tawfiq, and you know, gives you that mercy that you are able to propagate the message because of the intentions. As it says, a'malu bin-niyat, your amal are counted with the intentions. We haven't got long left, we have about 5 minutes, but there's one thing I wanted to touch upon just before we go. As you are reciters, I really want to touch upon the importance or the role that reciters have in spreading the message of the Ahlulbayt. We have lecturers, but you know, what is the role of reciters? What role does reciters have in spreading the message of Imam Hassan? Those who write poetry, those who recite, what role do they have in spreading the message?
There's a big role, as in reciting has a completely different impact that others have. Obviously, each medium has its own impact, but reciting can be, through recitations, you can reach audience in a completely different way. For example, some people, for example, if they're in a lecture, and the lecture might be really long, and they might lose their attention in the middle, for example. But in your recitation, you're able to tell a whole story or give a whole message in, for example, 6 minutes, a short amount of time. Yeah. And you're able to give that message to someone, and you're attracting them without taking away their attention. So the message is reaching to them, you're doing your duty, and everything's happening. So it's not like really long, and in the middle of it, I lost my attention, I didn't know what he said, what he was trying to say. You've done through your recitations, you've basically spread the message, you know, basically just...
Every medium has its own importance, and they're all just as important as each other. So you can't say reciting is so much more than giving a lecture, masayib, just like that. No. But the impact of recitation is such that you can be, the emotion and the feel that you have through recitation, because this is what we do and we feel it, and the emotion that, and we see the emotion and the feel that of the audience as well, is totally different. Because when you feel something and you're presenting it in whatever way you're presenting it, that feel is reaching out to an audience as well. That particular emotion inside you is coming out to the audience as well. In the poetry itself, poetry is an expressive form of mourning. It's very expressive. You're writing down exactly your feelings and the actual events that took place. Now, poetry in itself is a very beautiful form of presenting the tragedy of Karbala. Beautiful in an emotional manner. And again, there's certain in a noha, for example, you have certain parts which need particular emphasis on. For example, when there's a particular message that you're giving across to an audience. So because the noha is in tune form, the composition of that particular message can change. So you can change it to such a way that the audience capture that change, and there's a particular emphasis on that. For example, in the English noha we read last year and in this year, the part where the message is, we will never stop remembering Hussein, till the last day you'll hear his name, and every moment, everywhere you'll hear Hussein, Hussein, because we're the prayer of Fatima, the daughter of the Prophet of Allah. So this particular message, the noha was coming on as the story was going along. This message came, the tune and the whole feel of the noha changed. That reached the audience in a different way. So this is the importance of noha recitation.
Interesting. Unfortunately, that's all we have time for. I would love to continue. You know, we've just got into the interview, but inshallah we'll have you again in the future. But thank you very much for joining us today, and may Allah reward you for all the efforts that you have done.
Inshallah.
For the audience at home, for some reason I've just received 70 emails all at the same time, right at the end of the show. But thank you for sending your emails in. Like here, my sister said, Assalamu alaikum. Alhamdulillah, you all mentioned many different types of messages for the Karbala. Here are some ideas shared, and they put a list of ideas. We'll try to put this on Facebook, all the emails, the messages that we have got, or we can read them out in our future shows and address them then. Unfortunately, I couldn't read all your emails out. Inshallah, we'll read it out in our future shows. That's all for today. Please join me tomorrow with Sister Mariam Gary Henry when we speak about the importance of remembering the tragedy of Karbala. So inshallah, we'll be speaking about that tomorrow. Just remember that all our shows do get uploaded online, so you can watch that then. That's all for today. Wassalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.